community. Dave the Pickup Artist with you for another week of Psychedelic Sunday. And we're going to start it off with a very cool album. This may be one of the trippiest albums in my collection. And it's also in the Big Book of Psychedelia. We've got Arzachel from the UK. The back cover. Now these guys used phony names for the back cover, but these guys met in the School of London, art students. We've got Dave Stewart on organ and Steve Hillage on guitar, and this is just amazing stuff. This is space rock, psych. The organ's very cool. Some of it sounds like you're in a church. Then the guitar comes in and it gets really crazy. These guys kind of remind me of early Deep Purple.
Weak eyes to dazzle and to vex. It is the idea of the sex whose envy does the world perplex. It tells us sweet delicious more when day is breathing than before.
Now, there are at least 4 different covers for this. Now, the cover was designed by Dave Stewart, who was a good artist. We've got some, looks like we've got Hobbit characters there. But there's 3 different, a couple of them have the name Arzachel on there. That's a cool cover. Some are blue, some are red. But these guys, and it comes in a white vinyl. These guys started out as a band named Uriel in the mid-60s. I don't know if they changed their name to Arzachel, or if they still were Uriel and the name of the album was Arzachel. I don't know. It opens with a song called Garden of Earthly Delights, which is a great, you get the organ coming in. Sounds like we're at church. Then the guitar comes in. Then we get Soul Thing, which is very, very cool. It reminds me of a psychedelic freak beat version of Pulling and Tumbling, if you can imagine that. On to form Egg after this. This came out in '69. It is also in the big book, and we get a lot of information about it. This is the same version I have, the cover was. Picture of Steve Hillage there, looks like he caught a fish. Press ads appeared in the UK, one of which optimistically called Arzachel, the album that they're all talking about in the States, but the sales were minimal. The pseudonym Arzachel was agreed upon for the LP. It was the name of a crater on the moon. The blurb from Melody Maker from July '69 says, "They're an interesting organ quartet that shows sparks of originality and plenty of drive." We've got, in addition to Dave Stewart on keyboards and Steve Hillage on guitar, we've got Mont Campbell on bass and Clive Brooks on drums. Yeah, and they went on in the 70s as Egg, and went on from there. But yeah, this is just very cool stuff. The organ playing, everybody on this album is great. Stewart has since stated the album disappeared almost as rapidly as it was created. This seemed fitting, even giving its minuscule budget, hasty conception, and overtly psychedelic style. So we were surprised when it re-emerged years later, now being triumphed as an underground classic. And that it is. Arzachel. I don't know how to pronounce it. Oh, Steve Hillage went on to join Gong, and Dave Stewart hooked up with Bill Bruford. I think Bill Bruford did some work with Egg or Gong, and Stewart ended up on this album, Feels Good to Me, by none other than Yes's great drummer. I think this is his first solo album, I believe. Yeah, Bill Bruford's first solo album. Could be wrong about that, but yeah, keyboards. This has got an inner sleeve with Bruford there, and this is Dave Stewart. Also, we've got on here, we've got Alan Holdsworth. Somebody asked Eddie Van Halen who his favorite guitar player was, and he said Alan Holdsworth. But yeah, this album is jazz fusion. The thing I don't like about it, it's got vocals on it. They've got vocals by, her name is Annette Peacock. She's got a great voice. I think the vocals are out of place on here, but yeah, this is pretty good. They could have kept the vocals off though. And Hillage and Stewart are both still alive. They're both 73 years old.
And I think this is another avenue to hitter, is really what I would say.
The next one I've got is the part woman of the West Coast pop art experimental band, which is really a mouthful if you're naming a band. I mean, that may have been to their detriment.
Part 1, the West Coast Pop Art Experimental Band.
Trying your best, but it never feels like enough.
you.
But this is not really their first album. Their first album technically came out a year earlier, and it was kind of like this. It had a few of the songs that are on here, but it was mostly covers, Who covers, and I think they did a Kinks cover, and it was on a budget label too. So they recorded their second album, which is this, named Volume 1. Go figure. But this is a kind of like that album, but it's got different covers on it. On this album, they're covering I think Van Dyke Parks and Frank Zappa. They do a cover of Help I'm a Rock, which I don't know if that was necessary, but this is a great album. It opens with Shifting Sands, a great song. And you know the weirdness. This is kind of a weird band, but yeah, it's good stuff though. And they put out several other albums. I think they put out 4 or 5 other albums, but this one and the 2 that followed are the most common. That being said, it's a great, and they followed it. The 2 albums after that came out after this album are, I think, even better than this. But yeah, good stuff. One of the guys, the guitar players, went on to work with Kim Foley on the St. John Green project, the album that came out, which is on my want list. Next up, we've got Nas. Their first album, and this might be in my top 10 favorite psych albums, American psych albums, because there's not a bad track on here. This is garage, psychedelic, hard rock. Not all hard rock. There's 3 kind of slow songs on here, and they're also good. The slow songs are Hello, It's Me, which would eventually end up on one of Todd's albums. And there's a couple others, but mostly this is a hard rock psych album in the vein of Blue Cheer and The Litter. If you like those 2 bands, you'll like the Nas.
Don't
Todd Rundgren on guitar. You can't go wrong. The second and third album are a little bit more hard to find. This has got a cool inner cover. There's not a bad track on here. They had I think the single was called Open My Eyes. I think my favorite track might be Wildwood Blues, the crazy rocker that ends side one. And there are a couple of tracks on here that sound like, actually really do sound like Blue Cheer. Yeah, this is another great Todd Rundgren project. Todd Rundgren also went on to, he employed members of the Hello People, the psychedelic mime group that were on in the late 60s. He hired them as their backing up band. Yeah, I was once kidnapped by mimes. They did unspeakable things to me.
They're eating the people that live there.
And that's all I've got. Hope everybody has a great week and a great Thanksgiving. And I'll see you again real soon.
And I think this is another avenue to be an educator, is really what I would say. You know, I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm not looking for support. I am telling people what this is like.
You're an emotional parasite.
Fuck you.
The doctor came in, stinking of gin.
No.
Hold on, Dr. Robert.
Okay, I have not gotten emotional on your stream.
You're getting emotional right now.
Doctor came in, stinking of gin.
Not.
What I-
but I'm
listen.
getting emotional. I mean, if somebody's going to call me an emotional parasite.
Doctor came in, stinking of gin.
I mean, come on. That is.
I didn't find that to be the case.
That is horseshit.
Here's what we have to recognize.
No.
Here's what we have to recognize.
I am strong. I know how strong I am. I am out here giving people an opportunity to understand what this shit is like.
The doctor came in, stinking of gin.
No thanks.
No, and if you don't want it, go fuck yourselves.